Hey guys, Conker here, and welcome to Art of Bar. Today I want to talk about base design safety and simplifying tier 1 scaling. So here I have an example base, and it looks pretty nice, right? Clean, neat, organized, but in reality this shit is trash. This is an air player's wet dream. Everything is compact into explosive little bundles, and they can pick and choose what they want to delete from your base. Here, for comparison, I have a much better design base. The solars are all spread out, making them much harder to bomb multiple at once. The build power is spread out, making them much more resilient, and the converters are spread out into two separate blocks and isolated away from the other buildings to prevent chain explosions. The one thing I will recommend against spreading too much are converters. Converters are so volatile and easy to pop that spreading them out doesn't do you a whole lot of good. Instead, keep them in segmented blocks away from your other buildings. Now here's an example of a nice mid-game base. Instead of A-solars, we have fusions, but same principle of spreading them out. The converters are compact off to the side to prevent chain exploding with other buildings, and most importantly, the anti-nuke is separated on its own away from the converters to prevent it from being sniped off easily. Now here's two examples of your late game Aphis stack of what you should and shouldn't do. Please do not build your converters next to your Aphis. Imagine your converters as little bombs and your Aphis as a big bomb. You don't want to build the little bombs next to the big bomb because they're going to set each other off. Also, when you start your Aphis stack, I would recommend starting it towards the back of the map because number one, it's much safer there and it's harder to reach for your opponent, and number two, if it for some reason does explode, it's not near your main base and you'll still have some sort of power grid up with your fusions and your build power and you won't be fully dead. Now, if you often struggle with scaling in the early game and worry about being bombed, I'm going to show you two examples of easy ways to scale your E while also mitigating your risk of being bombed. The first example here is with spaced out wins. Early into the game, all you have to do is queue up lines of spaced out wins with 3 to 4 cons and they will scale your E for you till the fusion stage. If you want, you can space out the wins even more to prevent any sort of chaining at all. The only thing you have to do is build a few E storages and converters every once in a while. The second example here uses 2 cons to build out spaced out solars, which are even harder to bomb than the wins. I would suggest only using 2 cons because A solars are pretty metal dense, and make sure to have a little bit of E before queuing up these solars, otherwise you might E stall. So next time you queue up and your air player is -6 OS and he has black mold in his brains, instead of preparing your hate speech message for him, instead prepare your base for the inevitable bombing run and mitigate the damage.